I was in my home office reviewing quarterly expense reports when Derek walked in without knocking. Amanda followed, her anxiety making my stomach clench. Derek spread papers across my desk, talking fast about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that required $45,000. I closed the folder. The answer is no. Derek leaned against my desk, invading my space. We take care of everything around here. This house, realistically, it's already ours in all but name. The words hit me like ice water. I stood up. This is my house. I built it. I paid for it, and you two have lived here rent-free for 2 years. Amanda slammed her hand down on the desk, her face flushing. You've always been like this, counting every penny, hoarding everything. We're your family, not some charity case. I reminded her of the $30,000 I'd given them last year, which they'd spent in 4 months. Derek moved to guide her out. Mom always said you love that business more than us. I guess money is all you ever really care about. Your mother would never say that, and you know it. They left, and the house settled into a heavy silence. Sleep didn't come. The next morning, Amanda appeared in my doorway, her eyes red. Dad, I came as soon as I heard. I said terrible things. Things I didn't mean. You seemed to mean them at the time. Please, Dad, just let me make it up to you. I made your favorite coffee, just like you like it. 2 sugars, splash of cream. Consider it a peace offering. She led me downstairs. I took the cup she handed me. Part of me wanted to believe my daughter was still there, but my gut screamed warning. I took a sip. There's nothing to forgive, I lied, holding the warm ceramic. Amanda busied herself nervously, glancing at the microwave clock. I retreated to the living room. 20 minutes later, the room tilted sideways. Nausea rose in my throat. My legs felt like water. I crawled toward the side table, my fingers clumsy, thick. I managed to dial 911. I've been poisoned. I think. Need help. 4217 Mapler. Austin. The phone tumbled from my grip as darkness pulled me down. Amanda, what have you done? I woke up to the steady beeping of monitors at St. David's Medical Center. My head throbbed. The nurse confirmed I'd been brought in by ambulance. Dr. Mitchell arrived, his expression grave. He showed me the blood work. Your blood shows high levels of benzodiazepines and diphenhydramine. Mr. Cook, this wasn't an accident. The combination, the dosage, this was deliberate. This was attempted poisoning. My hands clenched the bed sheet. I closed my eyes and saw Amanda's face, the smile that didn't reach her eyes, the nervous glance at the clock. Do you know who might have done this? Dr. Mitchell asked gently. Hospital protocol requires reporting suspected poisonings. Family, he asked quietly. I nodded, barely. I'm required to report this. Attempted poisoning is a serious crime. Wait, I choked out. Can you give me some time? I need to be absolutely certain before I make accusations. He steadied me for a long moment, agreeing to 24 hours. You're lucky you called 911 when you did. Another 15 minutes at your age. You understand what I'm saying? I understood I was supposed to be dead. Later that afternoon, Amanda burst in, a hurricane of feigned emotion. She grabbed my hand, tears streaming down her face. Dad, I came as soon as I heard. Are you okay? Derek stood behind her, his eyes scanning the monitors. I played my part, moving slowly, letting confusion cloud my face. I'm all right. Just confused about what happened. The doctors really didn't say what caused this? Was it your medication? Derek pressed. No, nothing definite. Just need rest. When I mentioned something I ate or drank, Amanda's grip tightened, just for a fraction of a second. Derek's eyes flicked to her. I caught both reactions and filed them away. This is my fault, Amanda sobbed. If I hadn't gotten upset yesterday, the stress probably triggered this. Can you forgive me? There's nothing to forgive. The lie tasted like ash. When they finally left, I immediately pulled out my phone. My weakness had been an act. I quickly typed notes: Amanda, hand tremor, sweaty palms when I mentioned food/drink. Derek probing questions about diagnosis. Both visibly relaxed when I claimed confusion. They don't know what I know. That night, I searched for state attorneys in Austin, reading reviews carefully. I needed a weapon. Amanda and Derek thought they could end my story. They thought I was an obstacle. Instead, they had created a man with nothing left to lose. They wanted to play this game. I'd play it better. Not with rage or grief, but with cold, methodical precision. I was going to dismantle their lives, piece by piece, until nothing remained but consequences. The next morning, the discharge nurse wheeled me to the entrance. I moved slowly, gripping the wheelchair arms, letting confusion cloud my face for Amanda, who hovered like a nervous bird. The ride home was thick with unspoken tension. Amanda drove my car, Derek followed in his truck, checking the rearview mirror constantly. I stared out the window, but my mind was calculating. Tomorrow morning, I had an appointment downtown. Derek's voice came from the passenger seat, carefully casual. The doctors really didn't say what caused it. Just a reaction, something like that. Can't remember all the medical terms. The lie tasted natural on my tongue. Amanda's response came too quickly. The important thing is you're okay now. Home looked the same, but it was now a stage. Amanda's performance continued, fresh linens, flowers, concerned questions. Derek checked in, his smile strained. After thanking them with appropriate weakness, I listened to their muffled, urgent voices downstairs. Fear, anxiety, calculation. I waited until morning, watching from my window until both cars disappeared. Then, with none of yesterday's feigned frailty, I moved to my car. My first stop was Margaret Davis's law office. The 58-year-old, sharp-eyed attorney listened to my account, the poisoning, the diagnosis, their terror, without interruption. Mr. Cook, what you're describing is attempted murder, she stated. Have you filed a police report? No. I want justice, not just punishment. I want them to lose everything they tried to steal. Margaret confirmed Texas law gave me complete testamentary freedom, but we needed documentation. She introduced me to Brian Cole, a former detective now working as a private investigator. You think your daughter tried to kill you for inheritance? Brian asked. I don't think. I know. I authorized a comprehensive financial background check, instructing him to find everything. Whatever they're hiding, I'll find it. I then secured professional-grade, discrete surveillance cameras in the common areas of my home, legal on my own property. That night, monitoring the feed, I watched Derek pace the kitchen and Amanda sit with her head in her hands. Fragments of their whispered panic carried, if he knows, too late now. We need that money. 10 days later, Brian called with the full picture. Victor, the numbers are worse than you probably imagined. Total debt is approaching $200,000. I took notes. Derek, $95,000 in failed business loans, $48,000 in credit card debt, $37,000 owed to private lenders at 18% interest. Amanda, $32,000 in credit cards. Monthly payments exceeded their income by about $4,000. They were in a classic debt spiral. The financial report told a clear story. They hadn't tried to kill me out of hatred, they tried to kill me out of necessity. To them, my assets, $850,000 house, savings, represented salvation. Alive, I was an obstacle. I felt a cold, hard resolve settle in my chest. Not heartbreak, but clarity. I organized my evidence, medical records, financial reports, surveillance plans, and Margaret's legal documents. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was something patient, strategic, and dangerous. The next day, in Margaret Davis's conference room, I finalized my plan. Mr. Cook, do you understand that this document disinherits your daughter completely? Margaret asked. I understand completely. That is my explicit intention. The will explicitly left my entire estate to the Central Texas Veterans Support Foundation. Then came the critical addition, a 3-page memorandum detailing the argument, the poisoned coffee, the toxicology report, and my reasonable belief that Amanda and Derek attempted to end my life for financial gain. I signed each copy slowly, my signature steady. Margaret's office camera recorded everything. 2 days later, after retrieving my final documents from Brian, I staged the scene. I walked into the kitchen and placed the will folder on the counter, positioning it so the law firm letterhead was partially visible. I retreated to my bedroom and waited. An hour later, I heard the silence that preceded discovery. On my surveillance feed, I watched Amanda find the documents. Her face drained of color. She frantically called Derek. 20 minutes later, Derek screeched into the driveway. He read the will, his jaw clenching, then paused at the devastating memorandum. The knock came 10 minutes later. I opened the door. Derek stood there, and I saw the moment he registered the change in me. No frailty, no confusion, just level eyes and straight posture. "Victor, we need to talk." Amanda found something disturbing. "A will? There must be some mistake." "There's no mistake. That's my new will. Properly executed and filed." "You're making decisions based on what? Hospital confusion?" "I'm making decisions based on being poisoned," I said, my voice cutting through his bluff. The toxicology report was very clear. Benzodiazepines and antihistamines don't spontaneously appear in coffee. His mask cracked. "You can't prove anything. You're an old man with health problems making accusations." Amanda appeared behind him, collapsing to her knees, performing a desperate, theatrical sob. "Dad, how could you think we'd hurt you? We owe $180,000. Without the inheritance, we'll lose everything. Please." The number hung in the air, her implicit admission. "You should have thought of that before you tried to kill me for it," I said. Derek pulled her up roughly. "We'll contest this will. We'll prove you're not competent. We'll make your life miserable. I nearly died. You already made my life miserable. Now it's my turn. So that's it? Years of being your daughter and you just cut me off?" Amanda pleaded. "Years of being your father and you just tried to end my life." "Yes, that's it." Derek dragged her away. "Come on, he's not worth it." "No, Derek. I'm worth exactly $850,000, and you'll never see a penny of it." I closed the door. The front door slammed. I returned to my desk, pulled up the surveillance footage, their faces, Derek's threats, Amanda's admission, all recorded, timestamped, backed up. First strike delivered. They had tried to eliminate me for money. I had eliminated their motivation, and now their desperation was on video. Brian Cole's call confirmed my suspicion. Derek was meeting with a psychologist named Lawrence Brennan, a known purveyor of diagnosis for hire, to get me declared mentally incompetent. The strategy was to invalidate the new will and petition for guardianship. The move was clever, but I was already ahead. I immediately called Margaret Davis, who referred me to Dr. Patricia Hendress, a board-certified forensic psychiatrist. Over 3 rigorous sessions, Dr. Hendress evaluated my full cognitive capacity. Her report was unassailable. Mr. Victor Cook demonstrates full cognitive capacity, intact memory, logical reasoning, and appropriate judgment. His concerns about family members appear reality-based, not delusional. This preemptive strike neutralized their primary legal attack before it even began. I then used my surveillance network. Brian positioned himself in a coffee shop where Derek and Brennan met. Texas is a one-party consent state, and my recording captured everything. Derek sliding a cash envelope and Brennan agreeing to write a diagnosis of severe dementia for $5,000 to support a guardianship petition. I had the incontrovertible proof of their criminal conspiracy to commit fraud and defamation. With the incompetence claim blocked, Margaret drafted a legal letter informing them of my psychiatric evaluation and threatening criminal charges for any false claims. The letter didn't mention the recording, leaving them to panic and guess. Their panic was captured on surveillance. Derek, he knows. How does he know? It was time to escalate the pressure. I met with Margaret and Brian and signed the demand for rent or possession. They were living in my home rent-free. That was over. The demand required $2,800 per month, market rate, plus a deposit within 10 days, or face eviction. 8 minutes was all it took in Travis County Justice Court. Judge Maria Taws issued the order. 30 days to pay or vacate, with failure resulting in sheriff-enforced eviction. Outside, Derek confronted me. "You're really going to throw your own daughter out on the street? You tried to throw me in a grave? The street is generous by comparison." I authorized an information campaign. Manila envelopes were sent to every creditor Brian had identified, especially Robert Castellano, the private lender owed $37,000. Inside, copies of the new will, disinheritance, the eviction order, and Derek's total debt load. The facts alone showed they had zero claim to my assets. Castellano was the first to call, cutting off Derek's desperate excuses. "I just learned you're being evicted and your inheritance is gone. What exactly are you good for?" The debt spiral became a collapse. The financial pressure crushed him. Amanda broke first. She came to my office on a Thursday afternoon. "Dad, please. We have nowhere to go." It was Derek's idea. He said you were going to die soon anyway. That we were just speeding up the inevitable. I didn't want to do it, but we're so far in debt. My phone, legally recording in my pocket, captured everything. "Thank you for that admission," I said quietly. Her face drained of color. "Yes, you just confessed to attempted murder." Derek exploded at her when she told him. Their relationship disintegrated. The eviction deadline neared. Derek tried one last threat. "If you go through with this eviction, I'll claim elder abuse, that you need oversight. I have a psychiatric evaluation proving my competence. I have surveillance footage showing your abuse of me. And now I have a recording of Amanda admitting you poisoned me. Please make those claims. Give me a reason to send everything to the district attorney." His face went slack. He was completely outmaneuvered. 5 days, I said. Leave voluntarily, and I consider not pressing criminal charges. Force the sheriff to drag you out, and I send every piece of evidence I have to the police and prosecutors. The choice is yours. On day 29, I watched from my window as Derek loaded his truck, slamming boxes, his defeat absolute. Amanda was crying as she carried items to her car. Derek remained rigid. I felt no triumph, just cold satisfaction. The eviction was complete, but I wasn't done. Criminal charges would solve the rest. I immediately called Brian Cole. "Send everything we have to the district attorney's office. Medical records, surveillance footage, recordings, everything. It's time to finish this." 2 weeks later, I walked into the Travis County District Attorney's office with Margaret Davis and Brian. Jennifer Morrison, a seasoned prosecutor of elder abuse cases, reviewed the 3 boxes of evidence Brian had organized. She examined the toxicology reports, noting the 3.2 times therapeutic level of benzodiazepines combined with toxic doses of diphenhydramine. "This isn't attempted poisoning. This is attempted murder," she concluded. Jennifer then watched the surveillance footage, Amanda's nervous movements, fragments of their conspiracy, and finally, Amanda's recorded confession. "It was Derek's idea. He said you were going to die soon anyway. We needed the money. This is admissible. This is damning. And this is enough for arrest warrants," Jennifer declared. Detective Maria Hernandez was called in, and 3 days later, arrest warrants were signed by Judge Michael Patterson. Brian had tracked Amanda and Derek to a budget motel on Highway 290. At 9:15 a.m., Detective Hernandez called me. "Mr. Cook, Amanda Thornton and Derek Thornton have been arrested and charged with attempted murder and conspiracy. They're in custody at Travis County Jail." I hung up, sitting in my quiet house with the first true exhale of breath I'd taken in months. At the bail hearing, I sat in the gallery, present but invisible. The prosecutor argued the flight risk and the life sentences they faced. Judge Sarah Mendoza set bail at a crushing $500,000 each. They were returned to jail, unable to afford the bondsman's fee. The local news carried the story and their mugshots. My name was withheld, but their public shame was complete. The trial began in late August. I sat in the gallery, watching the jury selection. Margaret's instructions were simple, clear, factual, no emotion. Let the evidence speak. Jennifer Morrison's opening statement was relentless. "This is a case about greed, desperation, and betrayal." She repaid that trust by putting poison in his morning coffee. The defense teams immediately turned on each other. Amanda's public defender claimed she was under Derek's manipulative influence, while Derek's attorney claimed Amanda acted alone. Dr. James Mitchell testified that the combination and dosage were extremely unlikely to be an accident and would likely cause death. Brian Cole testified about the surveillance's legality, followed by the video footage of Amanda's nervous preparation. The entire courtroom fell silent as Amanda's recorded confession was played. When I took the stand, I was unwavering. Asked if I loved my daughter, I replied, I love the daughter I thought I had, but the person who poisoned me? I don't know who that is. Amanda testified against her attorney's advice, tearfully claiming she only used sleeping pills. Jennifer destroyed her on cross-examination. You were curious about lethal combinations the day before you served your father coffee that nearly killed him? Derek denied everything, but Jennifer played the recording of him discussing a fake psychiatric report with Dr. Brennan, cementing his role in the conspiracy. After 7 hours of deliberation, the jury returned. The foreman read the verdict. Guilty of attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Guilty of attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Amanda collapsed. Derek stood motionless. I met Amanda's eyes, acknowledgement, not forgiveness. 2 weeks later, I returned for sentencing. Amanda and Derek were brought in, shackled and broken. The probation officer recommended a mid-range sentence for Amanda, due to remorse, and an upper-range sentence for Derek, due to minimal remorse and financial pattern. Jennifer Morrison argued for the state. This was premeditated attempted murder of an elderly man. The state recommends 15 years for Amanda Cook Thornton and 18 years for Derek Thornton. The defense's pleas for leniency were weak. Judge Morrison had already heard the evidence. I walked to the podium. My written statement lay unused. The words that came were unscripted and true. Your Honor, on that morning, when I drank the coffee my daughter made, I trusted her. That trust was my vulnerability. They exploited it not just to steal from me, but to end my life. I met the judge's eyes. I don't ask for revenge. I asked for justice proportional to what they attempted. My life. Amanda spoke next, trembling, admitting she was desperate, stupid, and wrong. She ended, I just want my father to know I loved him. Derek, however, maintained his defiant posture, claiming he had no knowledge of any poisoning and was convicted on circumstantial evidence. His lack of remorse sealed his fate. Justice was served today, Mr. Cook. I hope this brings you some peace. Jennifer Morrison's words echoed in the hallway. It brings closure. That's more valuable than peace. The first thing I did back home was change every lock key. This was a physical act of sealing off the past and reclaiming my security. That afternoon, creditors arrived, taking Amanda and Derek's belongings, the final, brutal payment for their reckless debts. In Amanda's former room, I found a missed photograph, Amanda at age 7, a gap-toothed smile, holding as to Daddy, I love you card. I didn't discard it. I placed it in a drawer, a preservation of the person she was before she became who she is. A week later, I received a letter from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Amanda's facility. It was 3 pages of remorse, fear, and regret. I needed you to know that I finally understand what I did to you. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I felt recognition. She was truly suffering consequences and remorseful. I later discussed the letter with Margaret. You can acknowledge her remorse without forgiving the act, Margaret wisely noted. You can have compassion for her suffering without forgetting she caused it. I decided to sell the house, which held too many painful echoes, and purchase a smaller, secure condo with a view of downtown Austin. I didn't want to wait until my death to make amends for my enabling. I drove to the Central Texas Veterans Support Foundation and met with the director, Sarah Martinez. I proposed selling my house and using a substantial portion of the proceeds to establish the Victor Cook Elder Justice Fund. This fund would support victims of elder abuse and family violence with legal aid, housing assistance, and counseling, resources I desperately needed but was able to acquire myself. I wrote a 1-page response to Amanda. I believe your remorse is genuine. I'm not ready to visit. I may never be ready, but I acknowledge you serving your time and facing consequences. I hope you use these 12 years to become someone better than the person who poisoned my coffee. That's all I can offer right now. On a late September evening, I sat on my back porch one last time. The sale was pending, the fund structured, the letter sent. I felt settled, complete. The coffee I made was without fear. I stood, walked inside, and locked the door with my new key. I was a survivor, not a victim, not an avenger, just a man who refused to let attempted murder define the rest of his life. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right. Thank you for watching.